And congratulations with the book team, Getting Things Done with Others. Could you maybe share something of a best practice where teams have standards and where they've helped them be a healthy, high-performance team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of this is in the book, but I think the main candidates, you can have team standards for just about anything that's going to help you, and I think it's worth identifying those. But the main candidates for some kind of standards, only because they're the place of greatest interaction between team members, are in team meetings and in the way that you choose to communicate with each other. That is the channels, the frequency, the response times, those kinds of things are the easiest wins, I think, for any team at all. Mm-hmm. So with with team meetings, the difference that I see that this book is making from the earlier books in GTD. So in earlier books, you were kind of taught like how to handle your own stuff, how to handle meeting notes that you got. You went to a meeting, you got meeting notes, and then you need to do something about those meeting notes in order to show back up at the meeting and have done your piece, right? And the difference here is what we saw was that although we were training people to do that successfully, because the meetings themselves were so poorly organized that they were, always kind of fighting a losing battle. And so, and that's the difference, I think, between this book and the other books, is that the other books are here at the individual level, and there's a whole bunch of issues you cannot resolve at this level. You have to move up to the team level and get agreement at that level so that the individuals can perform. And so, just simple stuff around meetings, like making sure that the purpose is clear, the outcome is clear. This is all stuff that is implicit in the earlier works, but just to make clear, implicit is not actually good enough. It needs to be explicit for people to be able to A, know what they're supposed to do, and B, hold each other to account in a supportive way so that the team functions best. It's not in the knowing about these things, because if someone's listening to this now, they're probably going, yeah, well, okay, yeah, okay, I know. And the booby prize with this kind of thing is knowing about it but not doing it, because doing it transforms your meetings.
Yes.
Super simple stuff. And everybody is trying to go so fast these days that they're not taking care of the simple, easy stuff. And so, the cost is paid in unclear outcomes, unclear accountabilities, inability to follow up, repetitive meetings about the same topics. I mean, these are unnecessary failures. We introduced this concept of healthy high performance. Because if all you're concerned, I think even if all you're concerned about is high performance, you still should be interested in what's in the book. But if what you're interested in is healthy high performance, then you start to apply a slightly different way of measuring whether your meetings are effective, whether your communications are effective, whether your team is collaborating appropriately. And so I think that as a concept is where you would need to be coming from, right? We've already seen, we have the results from a headlong pursuit of high performance only, right? So those results are to a certain extent described in the first couple of chapters of the book, where we talk about the problem that we're having on teams. And you've got the disengagement, you've got the burnout, you've got all kinds of things going on that are really, really not helpful. And that's partly because we have not paid enough attention to healthy high performance. And if you're thinking about it that way, then you start to think, well, okay, I can have this meeting once and we can get actions and start moving on things, or we can have this meeting 3 times because we don't set it up properly. We have, too many people in the room. We don't manage our time in a way that means that at the end we have time to think about what this whole discussion has been about and what it means in terms of what happens next. We're not taking time to write stuff down. I mean, those are all super simple things. But you really only will do them if you are concerned about health and high performance. And I think to answer your question, Arjan, like these are not simple fixes because they're very human problems, right? And one of the things that's become clear to me is that most people simply are not taking themselves and their time seriously enough. They keep doing it because they won't just stomp their foot and say, this is not acceptable. My time is too valuable. Right. So that is really based in the people who will do that are people who have a very, very strong sense of themselves and what's valuable to them, you know, and in terms of their, not that just their time, but their relationships. And then, of course, it all will stand or fall on what happens when somebody starts to be uncomfortably open in their communication. Right. Or someone starts to be demanding about learning, or someone starts to, you know, what unfortunately tends to happen is we'll step over something that makes us uncomfortable 3 or 4 times. So by the time we actually speak about it, we're actually quite angry. And then the conversation doesn't quite go in the way we actually want it to, which is to some resolution. As a team, again, as a team, if you are not running some version of team project list, you know, a list of all the things that the team is currently trying to do. That doesn't have to be super granular, but it does need to be granular enough that when the team sits down, you can do some kind of review of it and to make sure that it's all current and relevant. Two reasons. One is obvious, right? Just doing that is necessary to make sure that everything is kind of moving forwards. But in terms of the chapter on, you know, saying no, what it also does is it sensitizes everybody in the team to how much they're already doing, and will make it much, much easier for them to push back when new stuff is pushed at them. If you think about our medical system, pretty much everywhere in the Western world today is very much based about how to recover, right? Once we're ill. And, you know, there's a fair amount of analysis that shows that if we were spending, you know, for every dollar that we would spend on prevention, we would save $7 or $8 on recovery, right? And so when I think about this book for me is all about prevention. I mean, we'd have to talk about the problem a little bit at the beginning of it, but it's really just like, okay, how can you get ahead of some of these massive team costs by doing some pretty simple things, which is not that much different than, you know, our own physical bodies, right? Maintaining our physical bodies, it's a bit of a pain. But if we do it, it's a lot less pain than what shows up in 10 or 15 years when we have to have our hips replaced, or, you know, all the wheels start to fall off. So that's what I think this book is.
Thanks. And we'll meet in Amsterdam at the book launch.
Yes, we will. Great stuff. Thank you, Arjan.